Welcome to Widowed by 30. We're your hosts, Katey and Taylor. We're here to provide raw truth, guidance, and support to those who may be walking a similar path as ours.
Or even those who have no idea what it's like to lose a spouse. So stick around, grab a glass of wine, and hang out as we dive into all things widowhood.
So, Taylor and I decided after we both lost our spouses, in our conversations and chit-chatting.
And our breakdowns.
Mentally, emotionally, all of them. That we want to be a voice for other widows or just anyone grieving who have gone through the loss of a spouse, family member. And I, being a podcast junkie, researched widowed podcasts after Josh's passing, and a lot of them are very, out of date, in my opinion.
I feel like they don't relate to us because, in all reality, yes, there are a lot of women that have lost their spouses, and even at our age, but it's not talked about.
No,
so
it's a very
lot of the
hush.
Yes, and so a lot of the podcasts that you're seeing, it's all women that have had their spouses for 30 years, 40 years. They've lived a great life.
Yep.
It's
a totally different generation.
It is, and it's something that we both, I feel like, have kind of taken a look at, and it's we need something, because if we had a podcast that we could relate to in that aspect, I think that it could help us, but all of these aren't, because they're not the same situations.
Exactly. Yeah. They all have grown kids.
Right.
They, like you said, they were married for 20 plus years. And unfortunately for us, we didn't get that.
No, yeah. You have Maddie, and I have Dallas and River, and Maddie's 11, and my kids are about to be 4 and turn 2. And so even that alone, that just shows the difference of every situation, but we're going through it together, but there's still different aspects and perspectives, because for Maddie, she's grieving. Yeah. She knows what it was like for him to be here and to not be here. 24/7, he was there,
and yours, they're still so little that
they don't
they won't have
and
those memories.
They'll see pictures of them, they'll see my phone, it's a screensaver of us 4, and every single time, even River, she's not even 2 yet, and she's like, Dad, and she'll kiss the phone, and she'll get so upset with me if I don't give it to her. And it's just a whole thing. We have things all over the house, and she'll see it and be like, Dad. And I'm like, how do you remember that?
Yeah.
But I'm thankful, and I'm hoping that we can keep his memory alive.
Yep.
But it's also one of those things of in a few years, they're not going to remember him.
Yeah.
They're going to see the videos, they're going to see that stuff, and we're going to keep his memory alive, but it's just not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same. No. So a little bit about Taylor and I. We met when we were 19.
We're 30 now.
Almost. I'm not 30 yet. Okay. Almost.
Okay.
I'm hanging on to those last few months. But we were waitresses, and we worked at the same restaurant. And, just...
Fun fact, we both started dating Josh and Clayton while we were working there.
Yes.
What year did y'all start dating?
In 2013. November 2013 was our official date-iversary.
Okay, so Clayton and I were, we were friends beforehand though, so we've been friends since 2012, but we didn't start dating until 2015.
Okay, that was the year we got married.
Yeah.
Our relationship moved very fast.
Hey.
We had a 14-year age difference. And
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
14-year age difference. I was a young single mom.
Because Maddie was not even 2.
No, she had just turned 2 when we started dating. So, like, even for her, she doesn't know a life without Josh. But, yeah, so I was a young single mom. Josh would come in all the time.
I remember that.
When he was home from work, and he shot his shot every time, and I turned him down very gracefully, as I would put it. He did not put it in that sense. He said I was rude and wouldn't give him the time of day. But when you leave one shitty relationship, like, you have time, you need time for yourself and to figure out what you want and things like that. And so I was focused on me and Maddie. And then it was mostly because of the people he came in to the restaurant with.
Fair.
You know,
Fair.
And their reputations. And you are who you hang out with, is what I thought. But that ended up...
I still agree with that to an extent.
Yes. But he was different. And so finally, actually June 3rd was the first time we met. And so that was, 10 years this month. And then of November that same year, we started dating. June of 2014, we got engaged. March of 2015, we got married. And, like, the rest was history. We were married almost 10 years, almost 8 years. We were together almost 10 years. His accident happened on March 3rd, and our anniversary was March 28th. So, like, that was very hard, because we had plans, and we were supposed to take a trip.
Yeah.
So it's like, when that set in, it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, how am I supposed to even...
how am I supposed to do this? Like, this is how we should be spending our weekend. And that wasn't how our anniversary was spent.
Yeah.
So I don't even know.
Yeah.
Trying not to cry.
No, I mean, it's fine. It really is fine. I get it. I mean, Clayton, he was sick for a very long time, and he he had cancer 3 times. 2012, we were friends. I remember going to the hospital, visiting him, and he was like, I'm fine. I'm like, you just had brain surgery. What do you mean? Okay, so Clayton and I met in 2012, and he actually had found out that he had cancer in 2013.
Okay.
So we were friends. We kind of went through, like, the whole journey together as a friend basis, right? Mm-hmm. He was in remission when we started to, connect on that different level.
Yep.
And I just never thought that, like, it would come back. It's like, it was here, it left, like, it's not coming back, right? I mean, he was in remission for 8 years. He used to say, and his family can vouch, he used to say, I'm not going to live past 30. Like, he just always felt that. And we were like, okay, psycho. Like, that's extreme.
Way to be positive.
Yeah, like, that's extreme. Like, stop, And he was like, no, I just don't see it happening. Because he had Crohn's as a kid and things like that. So he's always kind of had, like, a lot of medical issues.
Yep.
So that happened. He was in remission for 8 years. We had been together. We found out... We got married in 2019, in May of 2019, and everything was good. We had Dallas that year, and I will never forget, Dallas was 4 months old, and we were all laying in bed, and Dallas was starting to eat solids, and so I was like, babe, can you go make him an avocado? Mm-hmm. And so he went out there, and the next thing I know, I'm, like, in there with the baby, and I'm like, it's... Like, I heard something, but I didn't know what it was. And so I was like, babe, and, like, I yelled out there, and he didn't respond. And I was like, what is going on? And I walk in here, and I see him on the ground. He had one of those grandma seizures.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm holding Dallas. He can't sit up on him by himself. So I'm literally holding him and, like, holding Clayton on his side to try to make sure that he doesn't, nothing happens. And, like, he's never experienced anything like that, ever. He was perfectly fine 5 minutes before. He said he was tired, but, like, that was it.
Yeah.
And so, like, we took him to the emergency room. Like, the ambulance came. It was, like, a whole thing. And that was in January of 2020. So February, I think it was February, is when we found out that his cancer was back.
Oh, my gosh.
And we were just, like, dumbfounded. We were like,
Yeah.
what? You know, like, there's no way. Like, we just got married. We just had a baby.
Yes.
Like, what?
Your life was just beginning.
Yeah, and then it just, like, in one split second, you know, things are turned upside down. And he was really positive about it, though. You know, he was like, we're going to do what they tell us to do. You know, we did the brain surgery. We did the radiation. Like, you know, we did everything that we were supposed to do. And within a year, it grew back. And so, like, but we found out because it started to mess with his, like, motor skills.
Okay.
Because it was, like, the side of the brain that it was on his motor cortex or his motor strip. And so you can't, like, they won't operate on certain areas of your brain because it's, like, quality over quantity.
Right.
And they didn't want him to live a life, like, without being able to, like, do things, right? And so we, like, started reaching out to all these specialists and different, like, California. We almost went up there to do treatments, brain surgery, all that. Like, we were going to live out there for a while.
Yeah.
Because when we found out it came back in 2022, it hadn't even been a year.
Yeah.
And we had to, he had his surgery in 2021 on, like, April, it was a day after Easter. So it was, like, April 9th or something like that. And then this year, or last year, it was April 19th. So it was all within the same time frame. And he definitely, like, the second time it came back, he was obviously not as optimistic, you know, and I'm like, you have to be. Like, we have 2 children now, because while the surgery was going on in 2021, I was pregnant with River. So I'm, like, in a hospital, like, he's in the hospital bed, I'm taking care of him, I'm 5 months pregnant, 6 months pregnant at the time, and I'm sitting in that stupid uncomfortable chair for days, you know, like, trying to make sure that, like, I'm being there for him, but I'm also taking care of myself, and it was just a whole bunch. But in 2022 is when we got, like, the worst news ever, and he had surgery in April. May, we found out, we went back for a follow-up with his oncologist, and he said that it had grown more than they anticipated within a 3-week period.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was like, the way this looks, he gave us the prognosis of 6 to 8 months. And that hit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. I remember being in the room with his dad, and Clayton was like, the doctor kept trying to, like, beat around the bush, like, the whole time, you know, and he was like, you know, you
Just
don't
shoot the facts.
And Clayton is a very straight shooter.
Yeah.
And he was just like, okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Like, what is it? What is my prognosis? What do I have left? And I remember looking at his dad and looking at him, and I was, like, terrified of what was about to come out. And when he was, like, 6 to 8 months, and I looked at him, and I literally screamed, and I was like, what? And he was like, I know this isn't the news that you guys are wanting to hear. I'm like, he just had surgery 3 weeks ago. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
How is this happening? And he said that where it was located, it was just it was growing too far into, like, the areas that they can't operate.
Yeah.
And, you know, by then it's not game over. Like, they still allowed us to do radiation. They still allowed us to do chemo. But we knew our options were very limited. And so we obviously were, like, wanting to try everything.
Yeah.
You know, we went through...
Were there any, like, clinical studies?
So we were
anything?
going through all of that, clinical studies. And there was this helmet. I can't even think of what it's called right now. It's like the ognomagnetic helmet. I don't know. His surgeon is actually the one who came up with it.
Oh, wow.
And we had been talking about doing this helmet for months, but with the FDA, like, they were only approving it for certain, you know,
cases,
certain patients, and they didn't approve it until, which really still pisses me off because I think if we would have had a little bit more time, it might have given us a little bit more time with him.
Right.
But I mean, I can't beat a horse dead, so it's like, it is what it is. But he started the helmet, and he did radiation, he did chemo, and we started the helmet. And none of it, radiation didn't really work. I mean, it worked, but it didn't work enough to save his life. And then the helmet, it was such a, like, we were praying that was going to be the thing to, like, save him and even give us a few extra years. You know, we can revisit this in a few years, but, like, just give us some time with him. Let my kids get old enough to be able to, like, know who their dad is and remember him and have more memories with him and stuff like that. And they didn't approve it until it was, like, the middle of October. And so he only had, like, a month on it, like a month and a half. And I truly believe that if he would have had longer, like, then it would have worked. Yeah. But, you know, that wasn't in the cards. And so December 13th is the day that we lost him. But leading up to that, the day after Thanksgiving, he kind of had, like, this episode to where he started, his, like, temperature got super, super low. Like, it was, like, 95. Right? Like, that's terrifying. He was throwing up. Like, we did not even understand, like, what was going on. And we just called 911 immediately. They came up. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And I think that he would have died that day if we wouldn't have taken him to the ER. And so, like, they did all these tests on him. And he finally just, like, I'll never forget him coming to, or being like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep getting poked. I can't keep, you know, getting messed with. Like, I just want to go home. Because that was his biggest thing. So he's like, I want to die at home. Yeah. And as much as I wanted to keep fighting, I was like, I have to respect, you know, what he wants. Like,
and you want him to be comfortable.
I want him to be happy and comfortable and be able to be surrounded with the people that he loves, our kids, and, like, the ICU. Sorry.
No.
The ICU only allowed 50 people in. And so, you know, he has a big family. He has 2 sets of parents. He has me, his sister, her kids, my kids, you know, and so they were only allowing certain people. They wouldn't allow the kids in. They made an exception because they knew that it was, like, it wasn't going to be much longer. Yeah. But he was just like, I want to be home to where, like, I can see them, like, when I want, you know, things like that. But he got what he wanted. You know, he was able to be surrounded by the people that he loved. And that's all that really any of us wanted. But I don't know, like, the story and just, like, reliving it is, like,
traumatic.
Very.
And upsetting and depressing, and it fucking hurts.
Yeah, and it's like, you want to be angry, but then
you don't want to live your life in anger.
And then I'm also still numb at times. Like, I think I even tell people at work, you know, like, they're like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you working? And I'm like, for one, I don't have a choice. Yeah. I kind of have to keep going, or I'm going to fall into a depression, or I'm going to fall to where I'm not able to take care of myself, or I can't lay in bed. Right. I can't do that. I can't be that person because my kids they need me. Yeah. And I'm not going to let anybody else raise my kids. Mm-hmm. And so it's just one of those things of, like, you got to just, whether you want to or not, like, you have to keep going. But numbing it and keeping that numbness helps. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I'm almost 6 months in, and I'm still numb, but then I find myself being angry, and then I find myself being, like, depressed. Yep. And I try to, like, get myself out of it, and it doesn't.
It's like just sweeping it under the rug.
Every time. Yep. Every single time. And so I just try to live the way that Clayton would have wanted me to live, but then also, like we discussed, you know, like, we don't even know who we are as human beings anymore. Like, I'm a mother, but all I've been is a mother and a wife. Mm-hmm. So, like, now what? Yeah. I'm starting completely over. And I'm 30.
Taylor? Who is Katey? I know.
Like, I just turned 30. Like, this should not be happening.
Right. And, like, my biggest thing, and, like, I think about often, I don't know an adult life without Josh. Yeah. And you without Clayton.
Yeah. No, I don't. And it's just bizarre.
It is.
You know, and then
because
everybody else is just living their lives like the way that they're used to, and we're stuck like. And that's another thing, actually. You know, people like, and this is probably we can have a whole conversation about this in another episode, but you know, people are like, we're gonna be there for you, we're gonna do this, but like, I mean, a few months in, y'all are back to y'all's normal lives. Like we're still picking up the pieces and just trying to figure out life. So don't.
Sure. I know.
Don't come and judge me. Like, don't come and think that you can, you know, say whatever you want or say I'm going to be there for you, and then you ghosted us.
Yes.
Like, if it wasn't for family, like, I don't know what I would do.
Oh,
like, I really
know.
don't.
Same.
So after, you know, hearing everything on my side and, you know, with Clayton, I obviously, like, I want to know how, I guess, things, like, went down with Josh.
So, it was just another Friday. He was working, and he drove 18-wheelers, and this one specifically, he was hauling logs, you know, and we joked earlier about their morbid sense of humor.
I would think Final Destination.
I was just about to go there. Literally, like, that's always what my mind goes to. But
not funny.
It's not, but it is.
But they would laugh.
They would. If y'all knew our husbands, that was totally up their alley.
Yes.
So he was working and he was hauling a load of logs and going around a curve a little bit too fast.
In Louisiana.
I think he was going like 11 miles over the speed limit, which when you think about it, everybody
really
drives
not that
11
much.
miles over the speed limit.
I
like
15,
all the time.
20 all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprised I'm not pulled over more.
But you know, these places that they drive in these trucks are back roads,
Right.
dirt roads, not the greatest road conditions. There's no shoulders, you know, things like that. And when he was going around this curve, he was loaded, and they suspect one of the rear tires from the trailer went off the road, and like he could feel the movement in the truck and overcorrected to try and
So he was trying to swerve back,
save
on,
himself in
yeah.
a sense, and ended up not saving himself.
Do you
He
think
wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay, I'm like, do you think that it would have happened no matter what? Like, even if he didn't, like in that scenario, you know?
I don't know, and I replay it all the time.
Is that like a battle that you?
It
like...
is, because it's like I can just envision it happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, if he would have did this differently, if he would have did this, I don't have my CDL license. I don't know what it's like to drive a truck like that. There's just so many factors. You just want
justification.
Yes.
And it's never gonna
happen.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I refuse to look and read the police report.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't want details.
Honestly, like, I wish I didn't have the visual of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Clayton's last breath.
Yeah.
You know, like it, like everything leading up to it, like it's embedded in my head. And so that's like, I don't wish that on anybody.
Right. I know. And then like for me, I don't have that, but I envision it. Yeah. This is what it looked like.
Which could be worse.
It is, because then your mind goes to these places and it's disturbing.
Yeah.
And traumatizing. And I get so mad at myself because I'm like, you know what upsets you? Why do you do it? But
because it's another piece of Josh.
It is.
It's another piece of Josh that
and
you
it's
can
like,
kind of
I envision exactly. And it's, you know, so the truck rolled over on the passenger side. Okay. And because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, it flung him across to the passenger side of the truck. He broke his neck. So it was instant. He didn't suffer, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
But like, I play in my head constantly what he was thinking in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
It
Am
mi-
I gonna come out of this with bumps and bruises? Like, fuck, I'm about to wreck this truck. Like, was he freaking out? Was he worried? You know, I don't know.
I bet in that, because it probably did happen so fast.
That all he could probably think about was trying to avoid
falling out of the truck, maybe.
Yes,
Like, that's what I
exactly.
would be, is like, oh, in his mind, he's probably like, well, if I end up in the passenger seat, I'm still in the car.
Right.
Right? And so that's what I would think. And so that should give you a little bit of peace, that like it was a quick death to where he didn't have to like lay there and suffer and wait for people to get there, and things like that. But that, I mean, it doesn't make it easier.
No,
like
it doesn't.
Like, I can tell you, and I can try to pep talk you all you want, but like it
doesn't change anything.
It doesn't, and I mean vice versa. People
Right.
all the time are like,
thanks, I appreciate the support, but like
it doesn't help. It doesn't help. It does not. And I just need you to like to be here, but like leave me alone at the same time, right?
Yeah. Let me be angry. Don't tell me not to be angry. Don't tell me not to think of
literally
it in
the
that
worst.
way. I know.
I hate that. Don't tell me not to be mad. Don't tell me not to be pissed off. Don't tell me that I should feel any type of way, because nobody has the right to tell me that. I should feel however the fuck I want to feel.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Exactly.
I watched my husband die. You know exactly what happened to your husband. So like, it's like those things of, this has not happened to you. So how can you tell me anything?
Until you walk in our shoes.
You can't say anything.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and a lot of them I know come from a good place. And they're trying to be supportive.
Yeah. But it doesn't help.
So annoying.
But it doesn't
makes me
help.
so mad because it doesn't help.
And I know that they're just trying to talk us off the ledge, and they're trying to like just make us feel better. Yeah. But the only person or the only people that could ever make us feel better would be Clayton and Josh, and they aren't
here to do that.
Our kids are the next best things, and we're trying to be strong for them.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work. Like,
it doesn't.
Just be there for me, but like, if I'm telling you to like shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up.
Just be there in silence.
Please. Like, I don't even know. And some days I'm like, yeah, I do need you. We need to go and like have a drink, or, just come here and hang out, watch TV. Like, someday I don't want to be alone, because we're the ones left alone.
Yes.
Now, when my kids are in bed, I'm sitting here alone.
By yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking, replaying, watching videos, and I mean, I am guilty putting myself into like these like depressions, because it's like, I want to see these videos, and I want to see him and
hear his voice.
Yes, and him interact with my kids. And like last night, I went to two of our friends' house, and we were talking about Clayton, and they were going through pictures because they have a daughter the same age as Dallas, and they went to one of his t-ball games last year, and Clayton was in the background of them, and they were all live videos, and so I was able to like watch them. I'm like, I love that, but then like some people can't. They can't do that. Yeah. They're like, it's too hard. I can't. Like, he's left me a voice recorder, and I've only listened to it once.
And see, like, and that's like another sucky thing.
Yeah.
Like, on my side of things, because this was so unexpected.
Yeah.
It sucks that I don't have stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes it hard, because I think of all the things, like, I wish I could have told him. And just, I always called it his Joshisms, his words of wisdom. And he was always so good at that. And I hated it. Because
he was the same way.
Yeah. But it's like, I wish I would have so much of that. And, like, I have a few of them, but
you never realize, like, how little, like, you think you have a lot.
I know, but when I'm going, I'm like, I don't have anything. I feel like anytime he's in a video, I was recording Maddie.
Yep.
And he just happened to be in the video. Yep. And, I mean, I have some of him, but
you would have gotten
enough.
more.
I would have walked around with a GoPro every day of my life if I knew
to see our
this was
everyday
happening.
life.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people now. I'm like, record, take pictures, do everything.
If you have an iPhone,
if you look like shit, who cares?
who cares? If you have an iPhone, keep your camera on live, because those are probably my most favorite photos of him, is the live versions, because it captures his humor, his dark sense of humor, his goofiness, like just all those things in those images.
Yeah.
Like technology, I'm so glad we live in the time we live in now, because I don't know how people did it. Like back in the Stone Age, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, like, I have a lot of those too, but then I also have, you know, so Clayton started getting like really bad. Probably, we went on our Alaskan cruise that his job paid for. By the way, his job was the absolute best. Shout out Century Insurance. I will forever be grateful for them. But they paid for us to go on an Alaskan cruise, and it was in September. Yeah, it was the week before our son's birthday, and we had so much fun. And he was still able to walk. He was still able to do that stuff. We came back. Homeboy got COVID. I was like, what happened to you? He got COVID the week of my son's birthday, or our son's birthday, so he couldn't even come to his birthday party. His last birthday, like, he couldn't even spend with him. And so, but he was fine to an extent, you know, up until then. But then he really started to like deteriorate in like October, to where like he couldn't walk, he had to be in a hospital bed. Like it was bad. And I don't want to go into like all the details for his protection, you know, because he was a very
private,
and he cared about his, what's the word? He just didn't want any, like, he was very prideful.
Yeah.
Very prideful.
He didn't want people feeling sorry for him.
Absolutely. And I'm like, Clayton, you're literally like, you have a brain tumor that's gonna kill you. Like, it's okay.
You're dying.
It's okay. Yes. And I tried to like try my best to kind of, you know, keep his spirits up, but obviously not. But yeah, that last like 8 months was kind of really hard to get photos and pictures and stuff, because he was not only like, he didn't want to do it because he was angry and he was this, and I'm like, I need this for us. Yeah. Like,
once you're gone,
I need
this is what we have left.
But I mean, I look at the pictures from, you know, 2015 to now, and it's like, damn, like I thought I had a lot and I really don't.
I know.
It sucks.
I know. And it's like for me, I'm very open and vocal and active on social media about my grief.
I'm learning to be. I really am. I've tried.
I feel like it's my outlet. Like, it's a way for me to grieve, and that's just how I'm handling it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at some point, I'm eventually gonna run out of pictures to post, because
I'm gonna keep reposting the same shit.
I'm gonna have the same ones on repeat, because, and I mean, we have thousands of pictures together, but
I like to make all the videos. I like to.
It's all, again, technology, the reels and TikToks, and, you know, just to keep his memory alive. And
so I think the point of this podcast, especially this episode, you know, was to kind of just tell everybody like what
about us,
about our families, and then really, I guess just to have everybody kind of prepare for what we are planning on doing and stuff, you know, like what type of topics we're going to do. Like we're going to be very raw. We're going to be very open. There's going to be a lot of crying. There's going to be a lot of cussing.
Lots of cussing. Lots of alcohol.
I hope you guys can jump on board. But I kind of like, I think that this is a really good way to introduce ourselves, and I think that, you know, this is gonna. What our goal is to help somebody else that is going through this, that does not have anybody to talk to or doesn't trust people to talk to, because you can't trust everybody, family or not. Like, I'm very selective of who I trust within my family, within my friends, like, you know, because like I said, people are gonna judge you.
Yep.
And we want to be that outlet for you guys, and y'all be able to just listen to us and ask questions or whatever you guys have. But I hope that we can just be a positive outlet for you guys.
Absolutely. You know, and one thing I'll say is fuck everybody else and their opinions. I have always been such a big people pleaser.
Me too.
And putting everyone first. But I've finally come to realize, and I think this is the Josh in me coming out, fuck everybody else and their feelings. If they don't like what I'm doing,
I'm learning. I'm learning to get
you.
that.
I don't need you in my life.
Yeah.
I'm focused on me because I have to be there for Maddie.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't agree with the way I'm grieving or the way I'm handling myself,
I don't care.
well, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you're not in my
if
position,
you're
so
in,
fuck off.
Exactly. Exactly.
So fuck off.
If
Sorry, Mom.
I know. I'm gonna have a pep talk from my parents after this. You know, you just worry about you and what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Happy as can be, because
Well, we're learning our new normal.
Yes.
That's what it is.
You
And
know.
how
And I feel like I'm happy, but I'm not. You know, it's
a mask.
It's a battle.
And it's a mask that you're like, I want people to think that I'm happy, but then in the inside, you're like, you're pushing it. You really are trying, but you'll never get, like, it's not going to happen overnight. It's just not.
No. And it'll take time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I will put a smile on my face. I will laugh. I will participate. I will do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's still that darkness trying to, like, claw its way out.
Yeah.
During all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Well, I think this concludes our first episode. I hope you
go.
guys enjoyed, and we really do look forward to doing more of these, and I am super excited.
I know. We're excited for y'all to be on this journey with us.
And thank you for everybody that has supported us. I just want to throw that in there because we have had quite a few people reach out to us, and it's a blessing.
It is.
So we're excited for this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we did it.